Welcome to Curious Joel, a show about curiosity taking us deeper into the topics of people's passion and interesting conversation. I'm your host, Joel Circo. Today, we finish up the conversation with Sean Miller about Dungeons and Dragons, and yeah, enjoy.
But
Tagging into what D&D like really becomes is that it is just you can do anything. It can be anything.
mhm.
I have an entire game that I was playing, and it's one of those games I was talking about where I played that for a long time. Was I just said, hey, you're like, if it was you, you're Joel level 1, that's your class. And
Yeah.
as you play in this world, because it's you, and then you get sent to a portal through to a D&D world, once
Mhm.
as you play through you learn stuff, and that's actually how you level up.
Mhm.
And so you can literally do that. That's like the best
Yeah.
part about homebrew is you can do anything in
Well,
D&D if you so desire.
yeah, and that actually brings me back to my campaign, which is, like I said, the exact opposite of what Sean's doing, and that's I'm starting people off not as a level 1 hero, but as what is called a commoner. You don't have any special abilities. You don't have any extra hit points. You don't really know how to use a sword well. You don't know how to use spells at all. Like, what I'm giving my players is a very baseline. You can hold a weapon in your hand and you can kind of aim it. If you've ever seen someone try and hold a sword for the first time or a gun for the first time or any sort of like a crossbow, like any sort of weapon for the very first time, and they're like, you can see that awkwardness in how they hold it. But I mean, a gun in anybody's hand can be dangerous, you know?
It's still a gun. It's
Even if
just
they miss horribly, you're still not gonna be like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, a crossbow, same thing. Like I'm not gonna try and like scare someone holding a crossbow or a sword or even a knife for that matter. Like a weapon's a weapon, and weapons are inherently dangerous. They get more dangerous the more skilled somebody is with it. But like you can hold a weapon, and I'm also doing the same thing for like magic. Like you can use in D&D the instead of like ley lines in some mythology, it's called the weave in D&D. And so what I'm giving them is a basic ability to tap into the weave. What that does is like I can kind of send magic energy at somebody. I can also try and use magic to open doors or heal somebody or make myself like I can try to use magic to do whatever I want. I can try and use my sword to do whatever I want. I can try and use my physical abilities to do whatever I want. And what I'm going to be doing is using their decisions to work their strength up, their dexterity, their physical constitution, how well they would resist things or can focus, their wisdom, their intelligence. All those scores are going to be determined by how the players themselves are acting in the campaign, what they're trying to roll. Are they trying to roll with stealth more, or are they trying to roll with athletics? Were they trying to sprint through the thing, or are they trying to be dexterous with it? Are they trying to be nimble about how they do it? Are they trying to use their magic more, or are they trying to use their sword more, or is it equal? All of those are going to be channeling into their class, into their abilities, into feats they get, but they're going to start at what I call level -0. um, they don't have anything special. They're just going, I also need to help try and save the world. I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to try, you know? And so, but what my goal with that is instead of giving them that power fantasy, what I'm trying to do, because it's something that I noticed a little bit, is the role playing side of things is a little less with some of the people I play with. So I'm trying to get them immersed into their character, not so much into the world. I mean, yes, obviously that's a goal, but like I want them immersed in their character. And so giving them no like, oh well, my a bard would have to do this. I'm like, what would your character do? Well, so I'm a fighter, so I do have to make a multi attack. It's like you don't. What would your character do? And having that question of what would your character do when that's all you have is a backstory. That's it. You have the personality that you wrote down of who are they as a person. That's all you got. You don't have skills that you're, well, I have to use my skill. It's like, no, what does your character do? They can't be like, well, I have a better history roll than I do Arcana roll, so I'm gonna use history instead. It's like, would your character do that, or do you want to use Arcana instead? It's like, well, but it's a lower roll. I'm like, great. Unfortunately, I don't get to choose whether I use strength or not to carry heavy things. My strength is what it is as a human being. I have to do this task. I can't be like, well, I'm actually going to use my intelligence to pick this up. It's like, I mean, I can try and grab a dolly, but if I have no options at all, I can't. Unfortunately, there's you can only work smarter, not harder, so much before you have to actually use the harder part.
Yeah, yeah. And
giving
that
them
actually,
that, like, yeah,
that actually is like one of my biggest things with like making characters is making a character that is designed around what I want to play them as, not is designed like I don't design the personality around the character sheet. I design the character sheet around the personality. And actually that ties into like it kind of jumps a little bit because I am really big. I've taught like 100 people how to play D&D.
Yeah.
And that's like a kind of lowball estimate. I was a part of a D&D club at my college. And I really quickly it was like, oh yeah, Sean knows the rules because I didn't have the rule book for the longest time. I didn't have the player's handbook, or I didn't have any of the books. When I made my first character, my friend who had the book gave it to me on Friday because we were going to school together. He gave it to me on Friday and said, hey, give it back to me on Monday. I think I read the book at least 4 times, all the way through, front to back. I'm a nerd. And because
you're like
because
a nerdy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm a nerdy nerd.
No, I don't read books like that.
Yeah, I'm that kind of nerd specifically. If I'm given rules to a board game, I read the entire rules before I even try to play the board game.
A board game's a little different.
Well, but any game,
it's not an entire like anthology of rules and
it's not a literal like inch thick book.
I mean,
you know.
I mean, I was gonna try and grab my player's handbook that's above me, but it's in a case, and so I'd have to like pull it out of it.
Get up there, yeah. But no, it's like an inch thick book. I read the entire thing.
Pages, right?
Something like that.
And it's
I think I read it 4 times in a weekend.
It's not light reading either.
It's not. It's a bunch of rules. And the funny thing is it now causes me, because of my homebrewness that I do, is it's like, oh, I need to make up a weapon. I just have every weapon's damage essentially memorized. Almost every weapon, I can tell you what damage it does, all its special properties, whatever. Like, I have it all.
What about a scythe?
Well, I don't actually think scythes are in the player's handbook for 5e. Now that I think about it,
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the new rules or not, which we'll talk about that in a moment.
But yeah, there is not an official one. But I would probably go with there's a weapon in there. I would say it's a versatile. D8 D10 slashing damage. Anyway,
I mean, I could make something up, but
yeah, but that would probably be the closest approximation to the best like ability you got there. That's like the kind of way I have the rules memorized.
Right.
And so when I joined the D&D club, and it was like the second time I had ever played D&D when I started there. And maybe a month in, we had a new guy join, and they said, oh, go to Sean. He knows what he's talking about. So I had to teach another person how to play D&D, and they kept sending them to me. And the other thing was that guy's world was also very heavily homebrewed, like crazy. And because of, like, again, who I am as a person, I kind of know how his world works. So I knew what could get by him and what couldn't. So when I would get a new person in and I would talk them through how to, like, what it is they're doing, I would be like, okay, Roman would allow that, but he wouldn't allow that, or whatever, you know? And so it was like that. And So when I learned a method, or I developed a method, I didn't even learn it, I made it up. I developed a method for teaching people how to play D&D without referencing the rules, because a
Hmm.
lot of people don't do well with rules. Like, I do
Sure.
really well with rules and numbers and all that jazz. And a lot of people go, oh, there's just so much numbers in D&D. And I don't feel that in terms of being a player. Like, it's not very much, in my opinion.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna voice my opinion here for just a second, because
Yeah.
I am not the math person. Okay.
yeah.
So like, and I will say, as not a math person, like, after character creation, okay, because character creation, I'm not gonna lie, character creation
Does
does
have
feel
some numbers.
a little like math homework. Okay.
It does.
I'm not
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, don't let that discourage you. Because after you've made like your first character, like, I don't remember the last time I've actually like taken pen and paper and calculated things out. I use apps that have like versatility. I don't even know how many characters on D&D Beyond, and I have another separate app that probably has probably close to 50 different characters on it, so that I don't have to do the math to do it, because and I'm okay trusting these things to do it, because I do know how to estimate some of those things, and so I go, that's not right, that should be this, actually. Like, so I can catch the mistakes in it if it makes any. So that's why I'm comfortable doing it. But I thoroughly believe everyone should make their first character on paper,
Agreed.
because you then understand, okay, so my dexterity bonus and my dexterity score is 12, so that means I have a +1 to my rolls, which means I also have a +1 to my initiative. So if I have a better dexterity, that means I go earlier in the turn. So actually, I do want to add more to my dexterity, and then, oh, my proficiency bonus also gets calculated into my initiative. So if I have a class that actually buffs my proficiency or lets me add more to my proficiency, then that'd be better for initiative. Okay, I don't want my initiative. Okay, maybe it helps them understand the mechanics
Yeah,
of it.
you actually like get more of the game through that.
Right. And
For
so
sure.
the first time, absolutely make it on paper. It the first time, and it honestly sucks that the first time it does kind of feel like homework.
Yeah.
But
And because of that, I put in a lot of effort to try to minimize the feeling like homework part as much
Sure.
as I can. So, I'd love to run you through part of the process.
Yeah, let's do
but
it.
I developed a whole process for it. I don't even show the character sheet until partway through. Near
Okay.
the end, really.
Well, since this is an audio podcast, you can't show the character sheet.
Yeah, I can't show it. I don't need to.
Right.
But I always start off with, and this is like from nothing. Like the player who's making their character has no clue what D&D is.
Do you want
right?
to like walk me through making a character? Like,
Yeah, I would love to.
Really quick, how long would it take? Because I don't want to like
Not
40
it's
minutes
not
of a
that
podcast.
Long.
Okay, so as
It's
long
not
as
that long.
I might cut you off, but let's make a character like I am never. I've
Like you've never played
D&D.
before. I'm so down. Okay,
I can play that role.
So there is a world, okay, and in this world, there is elves and dwarves, and there are a bunch of different types of creatures, and it's a fantasy world, right? There's gods who give out powers to those who follow them. There are demonic beings who give powers in exchange for different gifts. There's people who are just really strong, and there's people who are really good with a bow, and magic is very prevalent in this world. So I want to start off by asking you, right, in this fantasy world that you're in, what do you want to look like? Like, describe just a person. Remember, there's elves, there's dwarves, there's all this different stuff. You could be a creature of some kind if you wanted to. But what do you look like?
I just watched Ghost Rider.
Okay.
And I honestly, I just watched Ghost Rider. And I like that aesthetic. Like, is that a thing I can be?
I mean, yeah, we can make that happen.
Okay.
Like, for sure.
Okay.
These dogs, man.
Dogs
we can totally make that happen. Maybe bork bork, man. So, I'm sorry. So yeah, we could totally make that happen.
Okay.
Something like skeleton biker situation is what we're
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, all right. And then now I have another question for you then. Remember, this
Okay.
is a world where pretty much anything's possible.
Okay.
What are you good at? It can be anything. Anything whatsoever.
Can I be like really smart?
Yeah, you could be really smart.
But like cool though, like smart and cool.
Smart and cool. I like smart
Smart
and
and
cool.
cool.
Smart and cool.
And like I don't want to like go like full Ghost Rider. I don't. That's not my like thing. But like I think like I want to be able to ride him like not necessarily a motorcycle, but like something like it. Like and I want to be okay at fighting it at least. But like can I be like scary too?
I like cool, scary. Like we
Smart.
got a lot going for us, which is great, which is great.
Okay.
So remember there's magic in this world.
Okay.
So my question to you is, do you want magic? Or do you want to avoid magic? Or do you just want to go normal? Like, what are we thinking here?
I mean, I think magic sounds cool.
Magic sounds dope, right?
Yeah.
Let's go over some magic, right? So
Okay.
we got all types of magic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we got magic from all sources. There are people who are just so smart that they make magic happen. We got people who study magic. Okay. We got people who are born with magic. As I mentioned, there's gods that give out magical powers. There's people who are just so good at rocking so hard on their guitar that magic happens. So you want magic. Do you have any idea where you'd want that magic to come from?
I don't know. I mean, like leather bound skeleton. I kind of like the rocker, but I also kind of like the like just born with it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I either one of those.
Either one of those is that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So in this, right? So we got skeleton, biker dude, right? Some magic on there. He's cool. He's smart, right? Do you use a weapon other than magic? Because I know you mentioned wanting to be good at fighting. Do you use a weapon other than magic?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a biker chain. I mean, kind of like Ghost Rider, like a
Ghost
chain.
Rider, biker chain situation, right? Pretty heavy metal stuff.
Yeah,
for sure, for sure. So, getting into this, we can start getting into stats.
Okay.
And the way that I like to explain stats is with tomatoes.
I love this example. So go ahead.
This is my favorite one. It's my favorite example.
Yeah.
Strength is how hard you can throw a tomato. Dexterity is how accurately you can throw a tomato. Constitution is how many tomatoes you can take to the face before passing out.
Okay. It's a different version of what I've heard it, but okay.
Yeah, I love that one so much that I have to say it every time.
Yeah.
Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. And then charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad.
And the bard is the one that's selling the salsa.
Yep. Exactly.
So the only difference is that usually when I hear it, it's Constitution is how many rotten tomatoes can you eat.
I like that one too.
Constitution is both the concentration and also how like the physical makeup of your body that you can like poison resistance comes from that and
I think Constitution is very wide in that range. It
is a weird one to describe to someone is like, well, if you're a fighter or a barbarian, you want a high Constitution. But also if you're a wizard, because you also need to focus on it.
But what? So in terms of like a starting out player, the main thing they're gonna see is HP as their Constitution. That's the main thing they're gonna think of. And so that's like kind of the way I try to get that into their mind.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you know enough about the rules that
I
character you just made,
uh-huh.
you have an idea of where they're like gonna be
I
class
I
wise.
I am trying really hard to play agnostic of the rules
The
and what I
rules.
know is possible, especially since I really shouldn't have gone with Ghost Rider because I watched the movie to make Ghost Rider for one of my players the other day. So I've already gone through this and I'm trying because like I know that if I was going into this, I wouldn't want it to be just like directly just copy paste Ghost Rider.
So
And
the
that's
thing that
not
I
what I want.
do
Mm-hmm.
with like new players when they are making something that is very derivative of something else
Mm-hmm.
is I let them for a portion of time. I let them for I say a decent amount of time. I let them think of something that is like very directly Ghost Rider, right? And then once I get one step in somewhere that isn't Ghost Rider, like where you want your magic from, either born with it or instrument or like playing guitar wicked solo or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm able to play off of that and build towards something that is their own thing that had Ghost Rider's inspiration.
Yeah.
When
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, when I do this a lot of the times, they come up with something that isn't directly in the rules, like a Ghost Rider skeleton person isn't
Mm-hmm.
directly in the rules. But if it's for my own game that I'm like running and playing,
Right.
I know what I can get by with.
Right.
Right. So a skeleton person is something I actually somewhere in here, I can probably find it. I built a skeleton race
Hmm.
for my games. So if anybody wants to play in one of my games and they want to play a goldfish, a rat, or a skeleton, or an animated suit of armor,
Gotcha.
or some others, I have some others in there. I built those rules specifically
Interesting.
for my games.
I reskin. I do a lot of reskins. So
Reskinning is really easy
so
too, and
because
it's
like there's always something that's close enough to something that I can fix it. So like what I actually did for the Ghost Rider was I actually used what's called a fire genasi,
yep,
which is
that's totally fair.
a humanoid elemental, because I gave them the fire resistance, I gave them a bunch of other things, but I also just said, oh yeah, you can also turn back into a human. Like you can go between the skeleton and human and more human fire genasi, and they leaned way more into the fire genasi than actually looking like Nick Cage turning into a
Yeah,
skeleton. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. You're a fire genasi, not a human that also turns into a skeleton burning guy. But like,
yeah, and that's one of the biggest things with D&D, especially with new players. I start off once we get through, because then I break it into chunks where I ask them more, hey, what are you good at here? What are you good at here? I let them know sometimes the class that they're going to be. So, hey, you're going to be a bard. So they get magic through their performance of some kind.
right,
So when you're casting your spell, you're either playing a sick riff on your guitar or something like that.
singing,
Um,
dancing,
Singing, dancing.
talking.
So I give them that so they can start to play with it in their mind, but I don't let them focus on that too much because most of that comes through actually playing the character.
Sure.
And then the other thing I do with new players is I tell them none of this is written in stone for even your first whole session. You could play a whole, however many hours the first session is sometimes. You could play that entire game. And then at the end of it, go, I didn't like this, or I wanted this, or I wanted more of this. And then we can build that, or you can have that be a goal for your character, and things like that. And so that actually gives them a little bit more flexibility in that.
They're
And it
not
really gives
beholden
them
to that one thing that you kind of, as far as they consider, kind of randomly assigned to them.
yeah,
They can kind
yeah.
of go, actually, I don't like that.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
do something else.
Okay,
And
okay.
no, so and then so yeah, the next thing I would do is I'd have them roll dice I typically don't do point buy. I do roll dice. It
So
depends.
really quickly for the listeners that have no idea what we're talking about. Um, there's a few different ways you can generate these scores that detail your abilities in certain things. And there's a few different ways that you can assign those, like come up with those numbers. So what Sean's talking about, and this is what I do as well, it's way more fun this way, is rolling dice. So it's randomly generated, and then so the way I do it is I have my players roll 4d6s and drop the lowest one so that they get higher scores, which higher scores means stronger characters, which means they feel like they can do more. That's how I do it. Other people do just 3d6 because that's all you really need to get the scores. It plays at a slightly harder like scores to deal with, but that's what some people do. But you also can play with standard array, which is it's like, so really quick. I'm going to set the baseline for this. A commoner, a normal person, has a base of 10. 10 is a total of 0 bonus to the roll. I know it's a little weird, but if you go below 10, you start getting to negatives of you're not very good at this, and anything above it is you're really good at this. So the standard array gives you like 17. Oh gosh. Okay, so go ahead.
8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, which means that you start with something that's at a -1.
Yep.
And the biggest, like, you have a sliding scale of what your abilities are. So you have to make really tough choices of, well, I definitely want to make sure that I'm strong. Okay, but that means that I'm not going to be as smart. And that means I'm not going to be as intuitive. And then that also means that I like, what's going to be the thing that I'm just bad at? Like, which to be fair, there's some people that actually helps with the creative process because they have to be a little bit more mental about how they're doing that, like the cerebral in plotting that course. The other one is point buy, which is you have a set number, and then you have like a number, a pool that you can actually like a video game almost kind of click over, like I'm going to add 2 points to this, I'm going to add
Yeah, I
2 points to
very
that.
much so references as a video game
Right.
style.
And it can be helpful that way because you're assigning yourself a certain thing, but again, that leaves you with a maximum of thing you can do to thing, where you run out of points, and then you're like, well, but okay, I kind of had this kind of medium character all across the board because I don't want anything to be negative, but so I had to sacrifice some of the things I wanted to be really good, and so it kind of leaves a blah character that doesn't have any special skills, because when someone's choosing like that, most people aren't gonna be like, I'm gonna make my strength 2 total,
Yeah.
like, so I have -4 to my rolls and strength, but my intelligence is going to be 20, which gives me +5 to my intelligence. Like, very few players are doing that, right?
Yeah.
So point buy is nice for a certain type of player, but most of the time I don't like that. But that dice roll means that the maximum that you can have on something is let's see.
18.
Yeah, 18. So I was like, I know how to calculate math. I can't. Because it's 6 plus 6 plus 6. There's the maximum you can have. That's 18. That's a +4 to any given roll. That's pretty decent. And if you're really lucky, that means you could hypothetically have an 18 on all of your stats. You can't get that with any other way of creating characters. You also can have, I mean, I don't know a DM that would actually make you do this unless they're being cruel, or that was kind of the point of it, is you could have a minimum of 3, which is extremely rare.
Yeah.
It'd be
Very
wild
low.
to get 4 ones. 4 ones the way I do it, because you roll 4d6 and you drop the lowest. So you'd have to get 4 ones, and you'd have 4, which would be a -4.
-4.
Yeah, -4 to your rolls, which is really abysmal.
Yeah, yeah.
But it gives people that range, so they roll their dice, and then they can sit there with those stats and go, okay, so I got 2 13s. What am I going to be medium at? I've got this one that's a 16. I know what I want to focus on, and then they might have something that's a little lower, and like it's a 9, or maybe it's an 8, maybe it's a little lower than that, but like it gives them a little bit more leeway to have a more unique character.
Yeah, and I think that doing that, especially for first time players, it is doing a couple of things as well. Is it's giving them the opportunity to handle dice. So they have
Yeah.
dice in their hands, they're able to roll it, and
Mm-hmm.
so they're able to see like, hey, there is some luck that plays into this game.
Right.
And then depending on their rolls, it's like, man, I get to be really good at 3 things if I want to,
Right.
or 2 things or whatever. And so it gives them that opportunity to role play. And I don't even let them, like, typically I don't even care about showing them the numbers and saying, okay, you have a 16, a 14, a 12. I ask them, what do you want to be the best at? Like, out of
Yeah.
these 6, what do you want to be the best at?
Right.
And I typically I'll give them a little bit of a door sometimes, especially if they're a magic caster. I'll let them know, like, hey, you're a bard,
That
you're gonna want
charisma.
charisma, right?
Right.
For your spells specifically.
Right.
And so like the goal with it is that I'm slowly peeling back the curtain until I get them, here's your character sheet and let's play. You know, here's the list of things your character can do.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time for new players, I can't even say most of the time. It depends. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I've taught like 100 people how to play.
Yeah.
Some of them have a very video game mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are like, okay, what can I do? And I start to explain it to them, and they go, oh, okay, so like this one thing I know from this other game that I play or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can actually kind of hand them the rules, and they can actually read it and get it. And then there's others where it's like, I can't do that at all. I have to explain each thing individually in its entirety.
Yeah.
And so that I am very big on playing to my players. Like as a DM, I'm very big on what can I do for the players.
Right.
So helping them along in that process is something I love to do. So
Yeah. So I have not taught as many people as you. But I worked at a summer camp, and every summer we'd get new people that came up and wanted to play D&D, and so I've walked a lot of people, probably like 20 to 50, I don't know, somewhere in that range of people, for like whole parties of brand new players, walking them through process of creation. So I can't quite do that level, which is I really like that. Actually, I do like that. Like, and had I had that opportunity with more people, I might have been able to come up with something like that. But that's incredible. But what I usually do is I give them more of the basics, and then I stop and help each one individually with what they're struggling with. Um, but what I tend to do is I usually do a first, like that tutorial stage. That What that means for me is it's got a little bit of that role play. So you have a little bit of that role playing game. So they have to interact with an NPC to get something. They have a chance to roll dice for persuasion or charisma checks or deception or intimidation. So they have those social skills. Then there's some combat so that they still have the opportunity to try and use their social skills to get out of a combat situation if they want to, but they also have a chance to work on using their weapons. So I give them a small puzzle as well, so they can work on some of those. Like maybe they have a rogue that wants to lockpick, or they have a wizard that can cast the spell knock that can unlock doors or something like that. Like, so I give them like a social, a fight, and a puzzle, so they have a chance to practice a variety of skills in a short period of time, and that way everyone has the same experience of like, oh, well, can I also roll to try and persuade the shopkeep or the bartender or whatever it is, the lunch lady that this is what's going on. It's like, yeah, you can absolutely also roll to see if you can convince them of that thing. And so they have a chance to look at their character sheet in not in the middle of a giant campaign that affects long-term stuff, but it's an isolated little tutorial stage where they get to do a little bit of everything and they know that it's not going to impact anything, so they're not stressing about doing the best thing, they're just exploring. And so that's what I've done for the many players that I've introduced. Is I've created this like very like modular, like isolated pocket dimension of tutorialitis, that it's just like, aha, welcome to tutorial world where everything is important but nothing matters.
Yeah.
And so they can just explore, they can try out their skills, they don't have to worry about anything bad happening, they just gotta play around with their stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because you can fully get into like what can you what creative solution can you provide as
Right.
well, and give them that chance. And honestly, that's something that I like really love to do when I'm bringing people in too, is like, okay, like let me give them a chance to do something
Yeah, it's not
like
just
special.
I use my sword. I use my sword again. I use my sword again. Yeah, so it's a chance to give them a little bit of taste of other things that they can do and have in a space that they know they have ability to do that without going like, oh no, I killed a player, oh no, I should have cast a healing spell instead of attacking. It's a, hey, it's okay, guess what, you're just gonna restart this little section again like a tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we're going a little long.
We're
It's
going
okay.
fun, man.
We're going fun. Yeah. But I did want to make sure that we hit a couple things. One of them was you were talking about other game systems.
Indeed, indeed.
That was the
Um
somewhere in there that you
yeah, that
had
was the somewhere in there. We got it. We got
locked
it. We
in.
got
Oops,
there.
I fell out.
So, there are a whole bunch of different systems.
Oh yeah.
There's Fate Core. That one's a pretty big one that I know a lot of people use. Um, I lost others in my brain,
Blades in
but
the Dark. Blades in the
Blades in the
Dark's really
Dark.
fun. Um,
We mentioned Call of Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is a very similar system to D&D as far as like the
Yeah.
dice used. So there's big stroke differences and small strokes differences. So like D&D, Call of Cthulhu, and Pathfinder are all a D20
Yes.
system, but the rules are vastly different. On how, not vastly, they're different in how they actually play when you're making characters and when you're playing games, about what you actually can do. But they're all based on a D20 system. But Blaze in the Dark is 2d6, right? 3d, something like that. It's a different, yeah, but like each different
Yeah.
flight of fancy,
That sounds right.
something like that. But that's another system, and different systems also have different strengths as to what they are doing, what they
Yeah,
use.
I know there's like a Star Trek system,
Star Wars
Star
system
Wars
that
system. There's a
uses
bunch.
entirely customized dice, so you've never seen these before.
Yeah.
There's also a new one, Daggerheart, out from the Critical Role. Just came out with Daggerheart.
Yes, yes, yes,
YouTuber I
yes.
follow, the Dungeon Coach, just came out with DC 20. There's also, oh gosh, it was called the Black Flag Project. I don't know what the actual official name is now. But that was by Cobalt Press.
And then like that there's so many, and you can just make your own.
laser heart feelings or laser robots feelings, something like that. I don't remember, but it's like you could laser heart robot, I think is what it's called, something like that. I don't know. I've listened to a podcast that as a one shot they did it. But yeah,
But
there's
yeah,
also the
so
Dadland system, completely created by Brennan Lee Mulligan. There we go. And
you got there. I
Brendan Lee
was gonna let
Mulligan
you get there, man.
and the McElroy brothers. Entirely,
Yes.
they're the only people I know that I don't think there's a rule set out there. They just have their own Dadland system that they've made for their own podcast, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then so like that friend I mentioned,
Uh-huh.
let me just double check. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. I was wrong.
How dare you?
She has made 8 different systems
Dang.
for different games she plays, because every single time she goes to make a new game, she makes a whole new system for it, which is really funny.
Yeah.
And I've tried my hand at it as well, like other than just D&D edition like styles. I have made my own systems. The one that I very specifically loved and have been playing is a D16 system, because I just so happen to have a 16-sided die that I got from a friend a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, 16, that's pretty cool. So I made a system that uses it and like balanced it and everything. But you can make your own. That's another fun part about like TTRPGs in general, is you can just make it up all the time.
Yeah. And like I know some people that have like very loose rule sets, because again, like as we said at the beginning of this, like the point of the role playing rule set is just to set boundaries, so that it's not just I win, haha, stop me, you can't because I already won.
Yeah.
Like
it's the child's like, you didn't hit me.
right. It's like, well, yeah, because I have no one can touch me ability. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I
have a
can
force
touch
field.
anybody.
Well, I have a
like,
dog that eats force fields.
Right. Exactly. It's not. There's no balance to that, and it's just chaos. And so even if you just have like, it's the real world but as magic, and then it's, you can have these very vague things of like, well, just pretend it's a reality but there's magic. How does magic work? Well, you can try and do whatever you want with magic, and I'm gonna flip heads or tails 4 times.
With
Like,
that,
you have a system there that if you learn how to balance it correctly and put a little bit of work into that, you could literally have just a coin flip based RPG, like a TRPG, that just is I don't know, you don't have a stat block, you just have luck, and like, oh, actually you level up by getting more flips. And
yeah.
you can drop flips, as you can choose to drop flips out of your roll of your flip, like to make it better or whatever, because I mean, as an example, and this is why I brought it up, was the Dadlands. What they use to determine whether things work or not is they have fanny packs. They wear fanny packs that have 2 colored, like those really cheap like plastic poker chip things. And so it's like rules and chaos, and each character picks themselves picks what they're stronger at, and they have more of those coins, like those tokens, in their pouch. When they want to do something, the game master decides whether it's a chaos or a law pull, and they can keep pulling tokens as long as it stays in that same thing to make the effect greater. So if you get really lucky and pull all of yours out, you can have the most amazing effect with that. If you pull 4 and then get one that's bad, you actually lose one of your like strength pull, like one of the other pulls.
Yeah.
And so if you roll really badly lots with that system, you start getting less and less lucky with things. But it's literally poker chips in a fanny pack is their system.
Heck yeah.
And they've balanced it, and it's a lot of fun to watch them do that. But like literally anything, if you have enough of a enough mindset to like make that system and hold that system, you can use whatever you have. You have a couple pens laying around, you can make that your system. Like you can figure
Yeah.
out anything.
Straight up.
I've run games exclusively off of one of those like fidget rings that's a D20.
Oh, nice.
Like, cause I carry it in my like I have a wallet pouch thing, and I carry it in there. And so anytime I want to roll something, I can just use a D20. I can run D&D off of just a D20. That's not something that anyone else needs to aspire to necessarily. It's just
yeah, don't you don't need to do that.
This is
You
not
can.
a goal. this is just something that I've happened to stumble upon, the fact that I can run D&D off of a single D20 ring. Not advised, but it's possible to do. Like, and that's the thing is, if you have a system, you can make it work. You can make any system. You can just determine a set of things, a set of boundaries, and that's really what you need for a world, is a world built around something, a boundary that people can bend. Like that. I mean, as we talked about, like level 40 doesn't really exist in D&D, and the abilities that we talked about, like I said, health is something that I bend vastly, and then in the thing, I let their spells do things that they shouldn't technically do, but it's way more fun that way. So, but me knowing where that boundary is and me knowing what I can change is my boundary in my world and my rule set. But yeah, but it's really incredible what you can do with, like, you know, your D16.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
But with that, like, we have to talk about the rule of cool, you know, because that's
Yes.
all.
Oh my gosh.
That's like a very prominent rule.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The rule of cool being, essentially just, yeah, that might not work, but if it's cool, it works in like the most broad sense.
Yeah, it's the well, I'm not sure if my spell would be able to do this. It's like, well, tell me what it is. You know what?
Yeah,
I'll allow it. You know,
I'll allow it because that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll allow it. Or this, it works this once. You know.
Yeah.
I was actually just listening to a YouTuber. If you can't tell, I watch a lot of YouTube about D&D. But he was just talking about some of the phrases that a lot of DMs use, and one of them is the difference between there's two. There's the I'll allow it, which can be set a precedent versus a one-time thing. And that's something that Matt Mercer uses a lot from Critical Role. So I'll allow it. Abria Iyengar, amazing DM. She uses the just stop. And that is when a player is trying to search through their stuff to try and make this thing work. And going, well, so if I add these two abilities, like, stop, just stop. What do you want to do? Oh, well, I just want to do this. Like, so what you do is you reach out your hand, and your hand starts to glow, and then it, you know, and like you just forego the rules for a second. This is where I think of it as a cinematic moment where your spells don't do this, or like the Force doesn't usually let you do this. The USS Enterprise doesn't normally have this capacity, but for this moment, this epic moment, you know, the watch that Megamind has actually works so convincingly that you don't realize it's not Megamind that just got killed. It's Minion that just didn't get killed at all. You know, that's not how this works. You know, the jetpack should have left a trail a minute ago. Well, it doesn't. Why? Well, because that wouldn't make any sense for that cinematic moment.
Yeah.
He is Metro Man. You know, those cinematic moments. There's a lot. If you start nitpicking, you can start pulling like, oh my gosh, this is a plot hole. It's like, no, it's a cinematic moment.
Yeah.
Rules are suspended slightly for these moments to allow for these epic things to happen.
And what I often do, and it's like a story, it's like a writing thing, like a writing adage, but it is that it doesn't need an explanation, but it can potentially have one. Like it could be as easy as, yeah, that's explained because of this, but it's just not written down. So when it comes to like D&D, maybe because there's moments where it's like, oh, I just did that, that's awesome, how does that work? And they can have a whole plot line that it revolves around that. And then in the same vein, right, something I did with our session recently was you had I think it was, you could use it a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier or whatever, to like search out or to like determine if there are potentially shapeshifters around or something. And rather than waiting for you to say, I activate this ability that lets me do that, I told you, hey, this is how it feels.
Right.
Because as a character, you would more than likely do that long before the player thought to do that.
Yeah,
you know,
like there's certain things that as a human being, you're not going, ooh, what do I smell right now? You're not like, I'm going to sniff the air for things. You're inhaling, and it just happens. And there's certain things where, like, you hear something behind you, you don't go, scratch, 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 scratch. Do I turn around and look at that? You're like, no, a sudden noise happens behind me. I spin around and look.
Yeah, of course.
As someone controlling this character on paper and maybe on as a miniature on the table, you're not necessarily going, yeah, I spin around and look, and you're going, oh, I sorry, I thought I turned around when that noise happened. It's like, well, you didn't say that. It's like, you're right, I didn't. Oops.
Yeah.
And so we have a DM that actually knows the abilities that you have and can go, oh, by the way, you would notice that blankety blank blank blank.
Yeah.
Because that's such I feel like such a pro move as a DM to like, and it's tenuous because you don't want to take away your player's agency, but you do want to let them feel like they're that character, and that's something
I don't want to be
like
playing my players' characters,
right? But having like a level 15 rogue picking a basic lock after roll to see if they can pick the lock, like it's a really simple lock, is asinine. Like, it's like the chance of them not being able to pick it is so grossly low that unless there's some sort of plot behind it, I'm not going to make that rogue roll for that lock. Like, a child could probably pick it.
It's like there's passive perception in the rule of D&D that is just 10 plus your perception modifier.
Right. Yeah.
I do in my brain, I go, okay, well, if there's passive perception, there has to be passive other skills,
abilities, right,
to some degree.
Right.
So if something's like should be super obvious to the character, but wouldn't be super obvious to the player, it's like, let them know that, you know?
Right. Like you have this skill set in nature. You're gonna notice when something's off with nature, when it's fairly obvious. Like, it's a big enough difference in nature that you're like, I'm not gonna make you roll for a nature check. You can tell. Like, you're so familiar with this.
If you were there, you would know. You know,
like, and it's something that like, and a lot of DMs, I feel like, don't have that, and some have good reasons for that. They want to make their players really trying to immerse themselves into the character, like on a like a breathing level of, yes, I make sure I breathe, and I also used the bathroom this morning. I think my character's bladder's full. Like, not, I mean, that's hyperbole, hopefully, obviously, but like there's people that want to track your food and track your sleep and track like how much you're carrying and stuff like that. I don't like doing that. But you know, there's DMs that's what they want. It's like, if you don't say you walk through the door, I'm not assuming you walk through the door just because everyone else in your party walked through the door. It's like, well, that's a gimme. It's like, well, that's not. I don't have to follow anybody through a door. I can let my friends walk through a door and stay outside if I want to. I've done that before just to be weird sometimes. Just to see if they
just
notice.
to act like I'm a vampire.
Okay.
Wait till
I have not been invited in. But like as a real life person, I've done that on occasion where I'm just like, yes, everyone's walking together, and I just stop just to see what will happen.
Yeah, you have free will.
It's a stupid thing I do, right? But and there's some DMs that really play into that. I was like, you didn't say you walked through the door. It's like, well, I guess I'm gonna walk through the door. It's like, well, not necessarily. I don't know. You might be suspicious of what's through the door. But I as a DM and like you have that moment like I'm not gonna make this a hard thing. Like, there's a chance you might miss it, and like if there's a chance you might miss it, it gets slightly subtle. I'll make you roll for it. It's not gonna be a hard one, but it's gonna be a roll. You're gonna have to work a little bit at this. But there's a lot of things that I'm like, why would I make you? What happens story wise if you fail this roll is something I often ask, and that's something else that with the rule of cool that I also like play into is like, I need this to work. Like, if it's something that I need this to work, I'll give them some peripheral rolls sometimes to like make it even more epic. But I'm not going to make them roll for the actual action. It's like, I grab the crystals. Like, do you roll a dexterity even though maybe you drop it? It's like, no, I don't. I need them to have this crystal, and if they do drop it, I have to sit there going, oh. That was the only one in the world, and now the world's gonna end because I made them roll at a time that they didn't need to. Yeah. Now I might go like, roll me a performance check. It's like, what? It's like, performance check. It's like, oh, that was it's 19. That's nice. That's really good. So as you pull this crystal, you actually catch the beam of light above it, and it actually sparkles and shines. It's brilliant. You look like a hero holding this crystal above your head as you pull it off its podium, and it's like, that's really cool. Way cooler than it would have been like, you grab the crystal anyway. It's like, okay, cool. I'm glad you just spent 4 weeks doing this. Is that it? It's like, well, then you have to get it to the thing, but yeah. It's like, okay. But like, that rule of cool, like, I'll sometimes just make things work and have them roll for the extra stuff. Or they say something, I'm like, they're trying to figure out how it works. I'm like, let me figure out how that works. Yes, this character in the movie didn't have any magic, but for a moment he summoned all his willpower and he was able to just make it happen. There's no, like, that's absurd, but it would be more absurd if he like summons all his willpower and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, people are dying now. Why? Because, well, there's no reason that he'd actually be able to access magic no matter how hard he thought he could. Like that's actually kind of like the basis for like the magic of friendship type thing.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, we're such good friends. We've got this locked down, sealed tight. We can do this. It's a rule of cool. It's they're best friends. They've been best friends for ages. They're not going to mess this up. This has been their thing this whole time. I'm not going to make them like, well, not this time.
Yeah. You know? And it also comes as like, if you are in it, you know, it being cool is better for everyone.
Right.
So like just like let it happen.
Right.
And like as a player, I try to find interesting things to do as opposed to just normal stuff to do. And as a DM, I award that wholeheartedly. Yeah. Very oftentimes, and this is something really big for me. Whenever anybody rolls a crit in any game I play, if someone rolls a 20 on that D20 or a 1, in some way that is going to affect the world. No matter even if it's small, even if it's big, it affects the world in some way because that is supposed to be like really crazy.
Yeah.
So a critical attack, I'm not just gonna give them extra damage. I'm gonna also maybe give them something else. Oftentimes, I had someone. I'm trying to remember the spell they cast, but it was a spell attack roll spell. They hit the person. Um, they rolled a nat 20, so I gave them the extra damage, but then also I gave them like a burn effect or something like that. Or
Above and beyond.
oftentimes, yeah, it goes beyond that, and then also like I let people aim attacks. If someone goes, "Hey, I'm gonna aim for the eye," like you literally did in the first turn
Absolutely.
of combat last game we played, they go, "I'm gonna aim for the eye." Yeah, sure, okay. I'm gonna make it where like you're
It's
still if
harder.
you it's harder, but if you hit the AC, you're still gonna hit the purse. Like you still hit the
You hit the
thing,
thing, you're not gonna miss it entirely. You just don't get like you
but you
don't
might not
stab
get
the
the eye.
wolf in the eye. Yeah.
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 So like, what's the trade-off there? And then what does someone with now got stabbed in the eye? What do they do now? And like,
Yeah.
how does that work? You know?
Well, and that's something that I know that a lot of DMs kind of like are very dismissive of, and it bothers me as someone that like I when I mentioned Unreal Engine, I meant that a little more literally than some people think, because I have my brain works very well as a physics engine. Like I've been always really good at physically tracking things, being able to figure out what physics would happen, which gets people really annoyed when I can just pick stuff up and do it. Or vehicles, I can just use vehicles, and people get really annoyed because I'm like, how long have you been driving a tractor? Today? No,
The
like, but
literal
for
same
real,
way.
but for real, like, how long have you been? No, I just learned how to drive the tractor today. Oh, okay, interesting. But like, so my like, where like playing baseball, I can track where that ball is going very well. I just
I know
know.
exactly where that ball's
Um,
going every time.
and so when players are saying something like, I use this example a lot when I'm talking about how physics applies to things, is we were playing a thing and there is a enemy troll or something like that, and the player said, I aim for his forehead, like bullseye, dead in the forehead, and they had a spear, and they rolled a natural 20 on a spear to the forehead of this thing, and I go, I'm like, that's the damage of a spear is not going to kill this thing. Like, just if you look statistically speaking, it doesn't kill. But I'm thinking, like, I can't explain a single way at all that a spear doing maximum damage isn't going to be a one shot to the head.
Yeah, isn't gonna kill this troll right now.
Like, you put a spear through its head, a spear would penetrate a head easily. That's a fact. You did
Clean.
maximum damage. So it's not like you did like a little bit of damage. So it's going through the head. That's going to kill it. No matter how much health points it has, you got rid of its brain.
Yeah.
So even though it's nowhere near this is way long ago when I still was using actual hit points. But I'm like, it's dead. Why? Because you killed it. You
Yeah.
aimed for a specific thing. You kill it. If you said I rip out its heart, I'm gonna go like, anyway, on its turn, it's like, no, it doesn't get a turn. It doesn't have
it
a
died.
heart. It's dead. And some people have a struggle with that. It's like, well, but that wouldn't have, like, they still, like, if you can just do that, then like what's the point of hit points? I'm like, well, just like you, I could, like, if you ever watch boxing, they can take a lot more damage. If you watch a war, it takes one bullet.
Yeah.
Like,
Straight up. Like that's just how it works.
you're
And so
Mhm.
I literally I had a player who they brought in was a like I'm a doctor, I'm a literal doctor who
Mhm.
had to turn into a fighter because of whatever. So it was, oh, I want to stab for this specific vein or this
Carotid
specific artery
or
or I'm gonna
Achilles
try
heel,
I'm gonna
or
try to get that spot on their neck so I paralyze them. You
Right.
know? And so every single attack was harder to hit, but if they hit,
Well,
like
well, and that's
it.
kind of the point of like rogue sneak attack is you are a little bit more knowledgeable about what actually hurts somebody, and that's why you get those extra damage die. Is if I have a little bit of work, I can put that into making sure that's a vital organ, or I am making that maximum bleed damage, or I am doing damage, and that's something that I think a lot of people discount. Is like, people are like, well, it'd be really difficult to hit the eye. I'm like, okay, sure, I'm not discounting that, but also if I miss that AC, don't make me just miss the entire thing entirely. That's a little unfair, because most of the time, if you go to a shooting range and you miss the bullseye, you're still hitting the target somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, anyway, so you miss. Anyway, next turn, it's like, okay, so I just did nothing because I was trying to be strategic. It's like, yep, pretty much. It's like, all right. But, so like that physics engine runs in my brain when I'm running games. I'm like, okay, yeah, that would decapitate it. It's dead. It's like, that's it.
Yeah,
It's
literally,
like, yeah,
literally, that's it.
what do you
That's
what do you want me to do? No, the head
the end
floats
of
off
it.
and then starts attacking you. Well, the body has its own turn. Ha! There's 2 enemies now. What are you gonna do?
I wait, actually, I didn't even, when you were saying that, I didn't think about it, but I did have I had them fighting. It was a person, but the person was made out of a bunch of severed hands that were all being individually controlled, but they swarmed into a person who was a spellcaster in its full form. They did chop it in half, and I was like, well, I mean, it is a bunch of individual. You killed a couple
Right.
of hands in doing
Sure.
that, but it's now you have 2 things.
Yeah.
I did actually have that happen. It was a very specific scenario, but
Yeah, oddly enough, I also have a similar but different story. So in D&D, there are skeletons. In D&D, there are ghosts. In D&D, there's something called a flesh golem. Sorry, Sean just rolled away from the computer. So I had it.
I
It
know
was
what's
actually
going on here.
It wasn't a fight. It was a mystery. That they had to recombine the blobby flesh, the skeleton, and the ghost of a person to bring him back, because it was a murder, but the murder went awkwardly sideways, and they ended up splitting the meat, the bones, and the spirit apart from this guy, and then to put them back together. I had way too much fun with that session. It was a
That's
Halloween one
amazing.
shot. But I'm like, we have all the components. Why can't you just mash it back together? I'm like, why can't you? Ooh.
Yeah, why?
That was the whole one shot, was just they had to figure out what happened, and they're fighting. They're trying to fight these separate monsters, and then someone finally figured out bones,
Wait a second.
ghost, flat. Oh my gosh, is this the same person?
Is this one person?
Right.
That was my favorite. That's so true, man. That's so good.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I did get some inspiration from I'd had this idea. It was my idea, and then I'd also looked into it, and there's some Reddit people that had made something about something similar. I just took it,
I've definitely seen one where it's a ghost and a zombie.
Pieces, yeah, two,
Yeah.
two, not all three. All three, that was the original idea. I saw people do two, also their own original idea separately. But I was like, I'm gonna make it 3 because 3 is just cool. Rule of 3, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So there are situations where the separation of something isn't necessary, but it's in the story, not just no, just because you grappled his neck and succeeded on twisting it, his neck doesn't break.
His neck is just too buff.
Yeah, or it does, but it doesn't do any extra damage. I'm like, I had one DM that did that, and I was like, okay, so what was the point of letting me do this?
Yeah, so I
doesn't do anything.
A whole bunch of time.
Right, I as you said, I like creative solutions. I could have been just stabbing it, but instead you
this whole time,
right? You let me grapple them, you let me get into position, you let me do an opposing thing to try and snap his neck, and then at the end went, anyway, so now that you've done that, what do you do? I'm like, that that was
Kill him?
that's okay, cool. Anyway, so I just stab him. It's like, okay, cool. I'm like, okay, so all that was for naught. Great. Anyway, it's not a fun session.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So for DMs out there, all right,
Mhm.
I know there's a bunch of stuff about yes and, all right, be really good at the no but as well, right? No,
Mm-hmm.
but this happens, right? But also that rule of cool where it's yes, let's do this, let's make this happen.
Ignore rules for a moment. This works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of my biggest things is like there's also the yes but, right? Where you're able to go, yes, you succeed at snapping his neck. But due to the absolute exuberant magical energy that is currently sustaining him, that snap neck is just gonna pose, he's just gonna have a backwards head now. He's gonna just act like a zombie now.
Right. Or, you do kill it, but you the way you did it was actually releasing a lot of that energy at you. Or, so you and that's in my eyes, that's building in real consequences to things. Which goes back to that physics engine of like, okay, yeah, you smash that extremely magical, powerful magic crystal with your hammer that you're right next to. Guess what? That magic energy has to go somewhere. And you are in that blast radius.
It's gotta go.
Right. So like it's a are you ready to take this consequence? Yes, it's cool. You can do it. It's gonna be epic. But, I also do something similar with the I use this for natural ones.
Sorry.
It's fine. You had to fix your mic. So like natural ones, a lot of people are like, yep. Anyway, that you drop your sword on an attack or whatever. I like failing up. It's the
yes.
It's
yes.
the no but or yes but, depending on how you phrase it. Of like, you didn't hit him, but the fact that you dropped your sword actually catches the eye of one of the enemies and they're distracted. So you are leaving an opening for another player. Or you do hit them, but your sword gets stuck in the enemy. You're going to have to retrieve the sword out of that enemy. Or, something along those lines of, it's not just, I rolled in that one, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible, this is going to be a bad day. It's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I love stuff like that because you can also do things like, okay, you rolled a 1, like you hit this attack and this happens after, is so much better than, because then it's also like individual character stuff.
Right. Yeah, because and it I will say it's a hard thing to remember to do and figure out how to do it. I can give a good example of a monster rolling a nat 1 against a save of a natural 20. I just had this happen yesterday, where so normally if a player character is going to finish off a fight, like they're doing the last hit points or whatever, I like to give them agency and like what does it look like when they're doing it. This player wasn't intending on finishing the fight. I didn't think they were going to finish the fight. It was going to be close. I think they might have been like followed up with an attack and probably done it, but it was close. But they had grappled this modified dire wolf, which a dire wolf is just a really, really big wolf, but it had been even bigger-fied, and it had bear arms on it. And yes, Sean, I did steal a little bit of that from our dire times 2 X Pro Ultra Max Plus. But it also had bear arms on it that were equally sized up. And so it was...
They had the Second Amendment there.
Right to bear arms, yes.
The right to bear arms, yeah.
Uh-huh. but this player had jumped on top of the wolf, grappled it, and then was like, I want to take my immovable rod, which is a rod that basically magically will fix itself in place, and I want to bonk it on the head and like get it prone, and then like lock that immovable rod right there, so it keeps
like Milnir.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, cool, I love this. This is gonna be an opposing like strength save. He's gonna have a disadvantage because you already have him grappled and you already failed that. So he had the bear wolf had a disadvantage, which means you roll the 2d20 and take the lower one. And the paladin on top of the wolf actually had an ability that gave him advantage on this. So the player got a natural 20, and I'm like, oh, so he's gonna finish this off for sure. And then the bear rolled a nat 1. And I'm like, wait, nope, sorry. I am telling this now. I am telling you what happens because I can see my physics engine's running. You want to bonk this wolf bear on the noggin with a rod. No, you crater that poor wolf. It's not a poor wolf. It's a terrifying wolf. But you smacked it so hard, it didn't just fall prone. You smashed it into the ground. And that immovable rod went right through its skull. You just murdered it completely. It's decimated. It's like,
it has its own headstone.
Right. And the player was like in character, he's like, ooh, weak skull. It's like, and everyone else is like, you just punched it into the earth. There's cracks around this. Like, I've seen rocks fall from sky that didn't do this much damage. Like, asteroids have done less damage than you just did through this other thing. But it was just like, it was a moment where I'm like, normally I'd give this to you, but like, you failed, like this thing failed so bad, this is changing what that other thing can do to you, you know. And that like offset, I like those criticals because it gives so much more leeway to like, you know what, this is the best, like that natural 20 is the best you possibly can do, and that nat 1 represents the worst you can do. That's why I always phrase it to people, because a lot of people like, well, a natural 20 is an automatic success. Like, and I like to take it to the nth degree and go, so if I say I punch the world in half and I get a nat 20, I punch the world in half, right? It's like, well, no, that wouldn't work that way. It's like, so no, that's not possible, right? It's like, well, yeah, that's dumb. I'm like, exactly, it's dumb. But if I say I punch the world in half and get a nat 20, I do the very best I possibly could do to punch the world in half. You know, it's not going to be,
which is maybe doing a little bit of digging.
Right. Like, I might crater it a little bit. Like, I might like punch and there's like a little dent in it. But, you know, it's ridiculous to say, oh yeah, I beat every evil thing out of existence. Not 20, I win. It's like, well, no, that doesn't. It's like, no, then don't say as it's an automatic success. It's automatically the best you can do. And that one isn't, it's an utter failure. Like, there's only so much that I'm going to allow someone to fail. Like, it's funny sometimes to be like, I'm going to do a dexterity saving throw. I want to open the door before that other person does. It's like, you got a nat 1. You run into the door. Or you temporarily, like, I'm doing a wisdom to try and figure out how this door works. It's like, you got a nat 1. It's like, you're pretty sure it's a wall?
You don't know what a door is.
You forgot what a door is for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's fun to do those, but there's some things that I'm like, I'm not going to have you like sit there going, I don't know how to walk anymore. Like, you lost this walking skill. Your walking speed is 0. You don't remember how to do that. You got a nat 1 on history of walking. Anyway, have fun crawling for the rest of the campaign until you find a tome of walking.
Tome of Walking is now definitely an item in my world.
I saw that look on your face. But yeah, but this kind of goes to you can get inspiration for things anywhere. Even dumb podcasts. But you know, it's just something like the worst you can do and the best you can do are represented by that 1 and that 20. And I think that like, you know, that's something that people kind of try and take to a weird degree, of what that actually means.
Yeah, what like catastrophic failure, quote
Right.
unquote,
It's like
becomes.
you're this epic warrior. You like, and this is a giant, like, huge thing that you're trying to hit. Like, this is almost hitting the broadside of a barn. You're not missing that sword attack. Okay, what happens though? Okay, well, you get your sword stuck in the creature. You
Yeah.
get you
Or I
you
like to also pull like character things where it's like, yeah, you rolled a nat 1 on that attack. You're demoralized now. I don't
right.
need to give you what demoralized means for you. I just
Mm-hmm.
expect that you are now demoralized. And I
Right.
want you to play that, you know? And that
Right.
can be fun. Again, depends on your table, but that can
Right.
be something that can be really be a benefit.
And sometimes it's like you're embarrassed. Like, you know,
Yeah,
you're
you just get
embarrassed.
real blushed, man.
Right. It's like you made a funny noise when you hit them. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, dude, you fart when you,
It can be, it can be something kind of stupid like that, like stupid-ish, but like at certain levels, like I said, like with going back to the rogue, of like, you're not going to mess up on a lock like this. Like, it takes zero. You could do this almost in your sleep, literally. But what you drop your tools. I've
yeah,
had that happen.
or
Like,
like time it takes to succeed too.
right.
That's honestly a lot with like the Near to the Gods, because you guys are so good at the specific things you're good at. If you try to do it, you're probably gonna succeed in most cases. Eventually.
Yeah.
So I'll have you roll and it'll be okay. It takes you a little bit, but like you
Right.
rolled a 10, like it takes you a little bit to succeed, but you succeed
But,
because of
yeah.
how good you are.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The other thing, one last thing that I like to do, when I have advantage or disadvantage, I often will try and flavor that as a DM as one of those oops, you almost, like, have you ever almost dropped a cup and you saved it and like, haha, I know how to hold a cup. But it's like
I
that.
love that play of like advantage and disadvantage
Yeah,
on
because
that.
it's like
Where it's like what could have been.
right, you have that glimpse of like, yeah, so you have advantage. Your first roll was like a 2, but you got a 19 to follow it up, and like it's like the clink. Oh no, that's a bad cut, and you're like, what? Nope, I got it, and cut, haha, and vice versa for disadvantage of, it looks, that cut looks so clean as you, and then right at the last second, like, you twist it and it just hits flat side. It's like, ah. Oops. It represents that skill level, because like the advantage disadvantage isn't just you have a better chance of doing it better, in my opinion, because even someone as skilled as me in several things that I am in skilled, like tying knots for ropes courses. You all know I used to do that as a living. I could literally do it behind my back with one hand. Like, that is a factual thing that Jensen, that and the podcast has, you've listened to him on this show, like, he can verify this. I can tie a knot one-handed. I can tie it behind my back. I can tie it with my eyes closed. Like, the chance of me messing up on that is very low. I still can. It's just,
It still happens.
right,
It's just...
but it's gonna be that doesn't feel right, let me fix it. Not a, oh no, the knot fell, the rope's going everywhere. Like,
oh no, I tied myself up into
right,
the rope.
There's only so much that I can fail at that.
Yeah.
I've drilled so much with that. A martial artist isn't gonna accidentally throw a punch instead of a kick. It's like, oops, I forgot which my hand and foot was. It's gonna be, oh no, I threw that a little crooked. That one's gonna represent an embarrassment of I should have done better, or it's gonna represent, oops, my technique was slightly off, versus these big overarching failures and stuff like that. And when you add that advantage and disadvantage, it's that going from I can hear that.
Sorry. I was trying to get...
You just trying to get your fans riled up. He's got a little tiny fan.
That's...
Sorry, but that advantage disadvantage on, especially at those higher levels, represents the being able to spot failure and fix it, or going from a perfect strike to a technically flawed strike, and so it shows that instead of just, oh yeah, you mess up really bad, it was looking so beautiful, but
Mm-hmm.
your edge alignment
And I
was
think
off,
that
or
like opens the door for role play in that
right.
like
Instead
regard.
of just you drop your sword, aha. Anyway, you have to bend down and pick it up. Anyway, which just kind of goes nowhere.
Roll to pick it up.
Roll to pick it. Roll to sword. Which there's moments where those can be funny. There's moments that can be a lot of fun to play, but overall, like, there's like, as someone that plays rogues a lot, and as someone that both has the real life skill of lock picking, and almost always has the in-game thing of lock picking, I know that there's only so much failure on most locks that I can have in real life before I get it. Like, there's been only a few locks that I have tackled with my real life lockpick set that I've gone, I can't get it, and usually it's just because they're like almost literally 100-year-old
I was
knobs.
say super old.
Yeah, like literally, the one I've worked out 2 places that have 100-year-old that have been 100 years old while I've been there, like, and locks that are not necessarily that old but are ancient locks, and like, yeah, they're not gonna work as well, and even the keys themselves don't work smoothly. But outside of that, like a normal lock, it might take me a couple of tries, but there's no way I'm not unlocking that lock.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that, like, when a DM and I roll badly and the DM just goes, I don't know, it doesn't work, and I'm like, how?
My thing always becomes, if you're gonna roll, what is the penalty for rolling badly? Because it's like, if it just takes longer but there's no rush, then it doesn't matter. If
Right.
there's a rush, then it matters, obviously. Then I'm gonna have you make maybe multiple rolls, or
Sure.
you're gonna test this lock, and you're gonna go, okay, I know this is gonna take me, like, it's gonna take me 1 minute to do, so now I need my team to stall the bad guys for a minute.
Right. Yeah.
It can be that, as opposed to just, yeah, you failed, sorry, have someone else try, maybe, I don't know,
Right.
Like, that's not how that works.
It's not great narrative story. This is where you go back to like that cinematic or authorship of like reading a story and sitting going, and then they sat and tried to pick a lock for 4 minutes. Oh, you're still reading? Oh, sorry.
And that was it.
Yeah, they
and they failed.
Right, like that, going, yeah, he struggled with the lock, and then the fighter came up and was like, I'll break it down. That's cool. Or, I'm struggling. You gotta watch my back really quick. Cool.
It's a lot better than...
You have that in Star Wars.
The alternative.
Star Wars with R2-D2 trying to open the lock as Han is covering for R2-D2, and then, like, those things, if you think about those moments and other things, like, even when like R2 gets hurt and then they have to, like, okay, I'm gonna blast it. Like, that's exactly what I was talking about, and not even referencing it yet. I literally said that scenario that was like,
literally said exactly that.
Right. Like, it goes, the rogue R2-D2 tried to pick a lock, failed at picking the lock. Not failed, but was shot at to not be able to pick the lock. And then the puckish rogue fighter was like, I'll take care of it. I'm going to shoot it. Opens the door that way. But that's narratively interesting versus... anyway, so we're going to watch R2-D2 spin his little thing for 10 more minutes while he tries to figure it out. Or, I guess we're going to heal the rogue, and so he can pick the lock again. That's a little like drawn on, especially for this action sequence that you have. There's a battle going on. It's like, okay, well, the rogue's the only one that can really do this, so we have to, like, it's like, quick, next thing, what's going on? Not just, I'm gonna try again, I guess. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna try again, I guess. That's where, like, that narrative cinematic view that I have in my head that is very helpful when I'm going, okay, what's next? Just remember, this is the pressure you have on, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I realized I was kind of stalling out on that.
No, you're good. And then for like, there's also instances where there's literally no pressure, and it's like, okay, why should I make you roll? There was a rule in 3.5 that was
Oh
just
yeah, take a 10
take
or
a
take a
10,
20. Take a 20. You could take a
take a
20.
20.
Yeah, where
Like
it's
if I
just
have the time, I'm gonna do this
and I
so
can
good.
right. You can do it
I'm gonna take
okay,
as
or
much
you
time as it
can
takes.
yeah. You
Yeah.
could that rule for players for listeners. Woohoo! Getting my audiences confused. For listeners, taking a 10 was you basically spent 10 minutes to just do the thing adequately. A 10 is an average, quote unquote, an average roll for anybody. Anybody can take a little bit of time and get just about anything right. Taking a 20, you think you spent half an hour doing this thing, but you did it exceptionally well. Like, you know,
You spent half an hour searching
right,
a single room, like
right. It's a way that you could like, I'm not in a hurry. I don't need to rush. I can spend as much time as I need to find everything. So that investigation roll that it was going to be, I don't know, maybe I got a 1 plus my investigation of 4. That's 5. That's 5 below a 10, which is average for anybody. So I did abysmal. I don't know what's in the room. I'm pretty sure it is a room. I don't know if
I
there's anything
think.
in the room. Like, it's okay, you have no time limit. Why can't I just do a good job? I'm playing an investigator. I'm playing a detective, whatever.
Yeah.
I can just sit in this room as long as I need to figure this out. And I every once in a while I will actually defer to that rule because it was such a great rule.
I use it a lot too. Yeah.
And I don't know why 5th edition doesn't have it. And I don't think 5.5 has it either. Or whatever you
Whatever
want to
the
call it.
new one's called.
Yeah, which is a whole nother thing, which we don't have time to get into.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
It's been a while. It's gonna be 2 episodes.
yeah.
It's just gonna be 2 episodes. It's fine.
Yeah. And
I
then eventually we'll make a third one.
yeah. No, we've barely scratched the surface, which is wild for a nearly 3-hour episode.
3 hours a session. Yeah.
I like talking about D&D a little bit, and so does Sean. It's
Yeah,
weird.
we like this, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there's a whole new edition that just came out that there's some things to like and some things to not like. There's a whole, and I could spend at least half an hour just talking about
We could take another episode on this.
The controversy about what happened right before this edition came out, that almost made Dungeons and Dragons die.
Yeah.
As a whole entity. But yeah, so like the different editions, but yeah, that take a 10 or take a 20 is something that I still will implement on in today's games today, because it's just like, why not?
Yeah.
Like,
What
I can spend
detriment
time.
is there to me taking
Right.
the time to do this?
Right. I can, if I really want to spend half an hour picking a lock that's difficult, I can do it and I'll figure it out. Like, I'll get there eventually. Why?
Yeah.
What's the rush in, like, how quickly can you do this? I don't. I just don't.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
like,
need to do that.
you might trip if you run. I don't need to run. Oh, yeah, you're not gonna trip walking. Can you roll anyway, just in case? Like, no, I'm not gonna roll. There's no point in rolling if I just need it to be average, or I have the time to make it exceptional. Like, there's just no point. It's, again, going back to that narrative, Yeah. I will say, I think we're gonna have to cut it here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to make another episode.
Yeah. It's just, it took a while for this one to happen. As you might have heard, Sean is also a fairly new father.
Yeah.
So we are both parents with kids that are in the first year of life, and that can make trying to schedule things a little tricky.
Just a bit.
A little bit. But yeah, so we're gonna cut it off here. If you want more, please let us know. There will be more eventually. But letting us know what extra things you want us to focus on would be amazing. I'll get to that. I'll get in a second. First off, Sean, thank you so much for being on my show, not
Thank you for
yours.
having me.
um, Thank you for introducing my show today. I do appreciate that, even as unexpected as it was. Yeah, so thank you so much. I know that it took a while to get this out and took a little bit of time away from your kids, so I do appreciate that on your side.
Of course.
Yeah. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for listening. Now is a great time to listen to episodes. If you haven't listened to all 53, now 54/5, now's a great time to listen to it. I am now sponsored, not sponsored directly. The host site is now putting ads pre and post episode, so I am actually now making a little bit of money off of this. Not a lot at the moment. It's a couple of cents, but by sharing this episode to other people, by listening to episodes you haven't yet, you are actually supporting me. If you wanted to be a little more active with supporting me, I do have a Patreon, which you can hear a lot of preamble to this. It wasn't exactly icebreakers like it normally is, because again, we know each other too much or too well.
It was a great time.
It was quite interesting. Talked about names and titles and introductions without being there to be introduced to people. So if you want to hear Sean's and almost everybody else that I've ever had on this podcast, listen to the icebreakers. There's been a few people I've missed here and there because of time restraints and just brain stuff. But most everybody's had icebreakers. I also post episodes there first. So oftentimes you have very low edits to no edits on the episode, so you can listen to the whole thing with very basic sound cleanup and minimal edits to the actual content. So you can find me on Patreon at patreon.com/Curious Joel. And I also have 2 separate mini shows there. I have Car Talk with Joel, and I have Joel Rants, where I put my son to sleep. Well, going off on a subject, which, as some of you might know, is actually my original YouTube channel name long before this podcast came about. But yeah, so it's just little fun things there. Follow me on Instagram and Threads and Twitter /X/ every other thing. I am starting to post a little bit more on there, some fun facts and interesting trivia stuff. And you can also email me with like suggestions. You can also message me on those same social media platforms. You also can email me at curiousjoelcast@gmail.com. If you have suggestions of guests that I should have on, questions that I should be asking my guests, or topics that you think I should cover, I'm open to suggestions. I love hearing feedback from my listeners, so please let me know what you think I should be working on, what should I be doing, people that you recommend. Always looking for new guests. Yeah, Sean, did you have anything you wanted to plug?
You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Curious Joel.
Weird, you have the same Patreon as me.
yeah, my Instagram and Twitter and X and all that jazz at Curious Joel.
Oh, I didn't say what I didn't. I think it's Joel Circle on Twitter /X, because Curious Joel Cast was taken by somebody, I don't know who, but it's Curious Joel Cast on Instagram and Threads, and yeah, I forgot to mention that. Thank you for reminding me.
I got you.
Thank you for also having the same socials and Patreon as me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a feedback loop, you know.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's been a while since I've done this, but a shout out to Milana Dodd for the amazing art that is my logo, my Curious Joel cover art. is by Milana Dodd. She's an amazing amazing graphics design artist. You can go to milanadodd.com, I believe, and check out all her stuff there. Instagram, I've mentioned her before. I'll try and make sure that gets added to the description as well. Yeah, so thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, stay curious, y'all.